that's Pasuk. Acharov, following him, we're going around, all the way around. Hechazik. Who is the person with Hechazik? Hechera. That's the name of the person. Hechera, that's the name of the person. He built or strengthened, fortified the area near him. And after him was a guy called Baruch ben Zakkai, Midashenis. And we're not so sure what those words mean. It could mean he built a second section corresponding to the previous one. Min ha-Miksaya, from the corner, Miksaya means the corner, ad Pesach, until the entranceway of Bet El Yashiv, the house of El Yashiv, the high priest. So it would sound like the high priest's house was somewhere near the corner, this corner here somewhere, as it takes a bend over here, and that's where the Kohen Gadol's house was, and that's where this section of the wall is. Continue. Acharov, the next person along the line, Hechazik Mereimos ben Uriah ben Hakotz, that was his grandfather's name, Midashenis. Now I think here Midashenis is straightforward, because this Mereimos actually built a section of the wall, what's of Dalet, I think. Yes, here. Mereimos ben Uriah Hakotz, exactly the same person, same name, same father, same grandfather, and he's already built a section of the world much, much earlier. So here it makes it more simple. He built, this is another section that he built. Mi Pesach Beis El Yoshiv, from the entrance of the house of El Yoshiv, ad Tachlis Beis El Yoshiv, till Tachlis means the end. Sometimes it means like the goal or the purpose, which are always at the end. The goal is at the end, the purpose is at the end. Here it means, so he had a big house. So the section of the wall that went from the beginning of his house to the end of the house was all built by this guy. So now we've got to the end of this house. The Acharov, the next person, Hechziku HaKohanim, a group of priests, Anshe HaKikar, the men of Kikar. Kikar means in modern Hebrew it means a traffic circle.
Or a square, is it?
Well, yes. It's used to mean a square, but it's not actually a square, it's really a circle.
Kikar.
No, Kikar Gavidka, or Kikar.
So why did you use to be
Where? Kikar Tzion.
Because that's the way the center of the town would be. Kikar really means a loaf of bread.
Really?
Kikar lechem means a loaf of bread.
We learned that today in Gemara, no?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this
So,
Irish
my assumption is that
Right.
loaves of bread were that shape. That's why a traffic circle is called a kikar.
Or the place
Kikar
that we sell
in.
loaves.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
Unlike you saw bread in the butcher, the baker. So that's my guess. And it's come to mean a town square because the town. We associate it with a square, but I don't think it's a square. I don't know why the men of the Kikar have no idea. Did they break bread? Did they demonstrate in the town square? Did they live near the town square? Anyway, that's the name. Acharov. The next section was built by a man called Binyamin. Binyamin, the Chashuv, and they built it Neged Beitam, opposite the house. So they lived there, and they built the section of the house which was opposite there. The section of the wall opposite the house. Acharov, the next section, Hechazik Azariah ben Maaseya ben Ananya, Eitzel Beisai, next to his house. Sounds like here the wall was closer than just opposite. All right. Next section, Acharov, the next piece, Hechazik Binoi ben Chadadad Midashenis. I think that he was mentioned beforehand in where was he? Don't remember. He was mentioned before somewhere. And so this is another section of the wall built by him. It could be that it was only one of his brothers who was mentioned before. Okay. Mi Beis Azariah, from the house of Azariah, because that's where the last thing we were building, right? Remember? Azariah built the wall by his own house. So that's the next thing from the house until Adamitzah, until the next corner. The Adapina, the word Pina and Mitzah both mean corners. I'm not sure why there's two words in Hebrew for corner.
You think corner to corner.
Yeah, but they use the same words. Why use different? Why? I know why are there two words in Hebrew for the same thing? Mitzah and Pina.
Maybe it means
I mean, they've drawn it here as if the corner isn't a proper point.
different type of corner.
They're a type of corner.
Yeah, like one's inverse,
Maybe
one's
one's
outverse.
outverse.
Okay, maybe. Palal ben Uzai. Now, what about him? I suppose it means he built, although the word built is missed out, or reinforced. The verb is missed out. Palal ben Uzai. The next one, mineged hamiksoa, from opposite the corner, the hamigdal, and the tower. Okay, there's a tower. Hayotze mi bet hamelech ha'elyon, which comes out of the upper part of the palace. Again, there's no king here, but there was a palace, because the palace has been destroyed 100 years before this story, so there were still remnants of this palace. Asher lachatzer hamatara, which is associated with the courtyard of the matara. I've always understood matara is related to the word mishtara. I don't know why the shin's missing, but it means like the place where people were. Mishtara means the police. We know, for example, that Yirmiyahu Hanavi was, when he was kept under arrest because of things that he was prophesying the king didn't like, I'm talking before the temple was destroyed, he was kept in the Chatzar HaMatara.
That little cave.
So that's which is somewhere near. How do you know?
Huh?
How do you know?
That is the cave.
Yeah.
There was that movie that H took us to about the destruction of the first temple, and they showed him in a cave in prison.
So there's some, traditionally it's supposed to be near where the Arab, no, not Arab Shuk, the Arab bus station.
Talking about Damascus Gate.
By Damascus Gate. But I don't know how that fits into here, because we're nowhere near there. At this point in the travels, Damascus Gate is up here. And we're
Right.
exactly the opposite.
Why? You would think that the base of English, the most holy spot, should be like in the middle. Why did they build it? Why did they build it like around so it should be in the middle? Because it's the most protected. You want it to be the most protected, right? Why would you build something in the corner where it's vulnerable to like an enemy fire?
You could ask me a better question. Why would anyone want to live in Jerusalem?
Because Jerusalem is the
That means-
center of the world.
Yeah.
Holiness.
Right. People don't live on mountaintops unless there is a good water supply, unless it's where roads cross, like New York or London or Manchester or Glasgow or any other major town.
New York is it's not on a mountain.
Exactly, that's exactly my question. New York
It's a
is a
place
port.
that's port city.
They're port.
yeah.
Tel Aviv, Haifa, they're ports. Why do anyone want to live on a mountaintop? And I think the answer to that is because it's the site of very important events in Jewish history. So the Temple Mount wasn't picked because it was strategic or it was
Maybe
built.
also it was people that worked in the temple.
The Temple Mount was where the Akedah took place. It's where Adam HaRishon was created from. It's the center of the world. So I'm saying that's why the Temple Mount was picked. And the Temple Mount was very independent of Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim was built around a spring, because that's just for convenience. So I think that's the way the city developed. That's where originally the Temple Mount was here. Yerushalayim is down here. There were actually two different towns, one called Yeru and one called Shalem.
Shalim.
Yeru, Shalem. This was Yeru and this was Shalem. That's why in the Chumash, Melchizedek is known as the king of Shalem, not Yerushalem, because he was only the king of this area. And this was a place called the Yevus, which eventually became a temple, which David bought in order to build a temple. But the city of Yerushalayim is sort of independent. So the truth is that they did build a very strong fortification to protect the temple. The walls of the temple was built like a fortress.
Yeah, which is the temple. You would think, like in any castle, right?
Right, exactly.
It's
And
in
the
a
point I'm trying to say is
sense.
that it wasn't really a castle. It was a temple in a very specific location. It had to be there. And
Once it was there already, why didn't they build?
building the wall, building. I mean, they did eventually. You should know. Eventually, this whole X section is now in Yerushalayim.
No, now this whole back section is all Arabs now.
Correct. Well,
That's
all
still
part of
within the
Yerushalayim. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So we're now right at the bottom here, in this corner here, by what's called Chatzar Matara, which apparently is a place where the place where dungeon, which is close to the palace. Acharov, the next guy building, is Pedaya ben Parosh. He built the next section. V'hanesinim. Who were the Nesinim? Who remembers?
The people that I didn't see, where they came from.
Who were they?
People that lied where they came from.
Correct. They were Canaanites who were made
Into wood drawer.
woodcutters and water drawers. Correct. They were originally from Givon. They were known as the Nesinim because they were placed by Joshua in a certain position in society.
So like Yehuda Nasi or something?
No, that's a different word. That's with the stuff. That's with the sin. This is with the stuff. Netinim is the right way. Is the way you would say it to distinguish that word. Netinim from the word Natan. Hayu Oshvim ba'Ofel. They lived in the Ofel. That's very nice. It doesn't tell they built the Ofel. Just that they lived in the Ofel.
So what's Ofel?
It's an area of Yerushalayim which is. You see where they show it? The Ofel.
Yeah.
It was the upper part of the old Yerushalayim, and the area that went from the lower city where the water supply was to the temples. When you walked up from one city, you went down a street called the Ofel. Today there's a street called the Ofel. So it goes up from there. And they lived at Kineged until you get opposite to Shar HaMayim, the gate of the water, La Mizrach, on the east, V'hamigdal HaYotzei, at the tower that went out from there. That tower was probably the tower that protected the water supply. I didn't know this until about a year ago. I went on a tour just outside the Dung Gate. There is the remnants of a major tower, which they claim was built around the underground water supply so that it could be protected from the enemy. It was outside the walls of Yerushalayim, but it was like a big tower fortress to protect it. Maybe that's what you're referring to, because we do talk about the gate water. But I don't know what these Nesinim are doing. They just live there, but so what? Who cares? Maybe it means that they built it up, but it doesn't say so. They built the section of the wall. Maybe the part of the section didn't need building because the Nesinim lived there and it was already built. Acharov, the next section. Hechaziku had Tekoim. Now we mentioned the Tekoim already in Pasuk Dalet. The Tekoim are people from Tekoa, same of the town. Where do we have it? Where are they? Here, Pasuk Hey. Al Yodam Hechaziku had Tekoim. The next people to strengthen the walls with the guys Tekoim. So, but here it says Midasheni. So this is a second group of Tekoim. Right? I think it's like 49 different people building the wall at the same time. And the hope is that if everyone doing their project, it will get finished much quicker if everyone concentrates everybody in each other's way. You'll do your section, you'll get your bricks, and you'll build it.
49 people, that's all?
49 different sections. 40, probably families, right? Associated with each section. Somebody says the people from Tekoa. There wasn't one person, a whole group of people from Tekoa. And we had the priests doing this stuff. So they're all under different people in charge. All right. Mineged HaMigdal, from opposite this tower, which we just mentioned, Hagadol, the big one, Hayotzei, which goes out, which means it actually goes out of the walls. Right? This big tower that goes out of the walls. But it's actually enormous. I remember once going into the excavations, and it's just gigantic fortifications. And the reason is because this is the water supply. It's not inside the walls of Yerushalayim because it's actually lower down.
Yeah.
And we don't build walls at the bottom of hills because they're easy to climb over. We have protection by the walls being at the top of the hill. But naturally, springs are not at the top of the hill, at the bottom of the hills. Usually, springs are outside town. If you want your spring to be inside town and be protected, you have to find some solutions. That's what they did. It was built lower down, but it had enormous, on its own, fortifications which themselves went up to join the rest of the wall. So I think that's why it's been described here as the fortification that went out, because it went out from the other parts of the wall. The wall was going round. It was like a separate section, which was joined, but it really is massive stones and huge, usually protected.
So you talk about where they got the stone from, how they stacked the stone.
There's a suggestion that they got the stones from a quarry near Ramat Shlomo, because you can see to this day stones that are in the process of being quarried there. It means when the quarry went out of business, they were still in the middle of doing things.
How they cut it. These are crazy. Like
Yeah. I mean, the stones from the coast have got the same problem, right? They just.
Because it talks about that.
No. No one says that. Those are the stones of the building of the base of English, not the outside perimeter wall.
Oh.
Anyway, those stones were cut by Herod, right?
Yeah.
The Shlomo Melech didn't build the wall that we have today. Shlomo Melech's wall, if anything, is much further inside. It was much smaller. Herod built these stones, and those stones were chiseled. When you have no limit to the number of slaves you have, then you can do anything. Almost.
It's insane.
You have 100,000 slaves who you can force work to death. Then there's lots you can
There's
do.
rocks and stones weigh 10
I don't understand. 10,000 of tons. Yes, I know. And you have 100,000 slaves pulling them. Well, anyway, they moved them somehow or other. So that's
You
what
went on a tunnel tour today?
today.
Yeah.
There was one today.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I went about a year ago. Yeah, not a tunnel tour. Okay, so we continue around the wall. We got to the east. We're now back on the east, by the way, and where Dung Gate is approximately that area. And as you go further and further down, you get to City of David, right? So the area is including a wall that goes out and a fortress that goes outside the city, as opposed to most fortresses, which are just the walls. You know, they connect bits of wall, right? Here actually was a fortified area which was separated. It's not completely separated, but went out from the rest of the wall. Va'ad chomat ha'ofel, until you get to the walls of the Ofel, which is the area that goes up from the old city. Me'al shara susim, from on top of the gate of the horses, Hechaziku hakohanim, the priests strengthened, ish leneged beisa, each one opposite his home. Each priest opposite his home. So apparently the priest lived there. Acharov, the next section. Hechazik tzadok. You don't have a text. That's very stupid. Hechazik. Mishulam ben Berechia. That was strengthened by a guy called Mishulam ben Berechia. Neged Nishkato. Nishkato is probably related to the modern Hebrew word of Lishkato, which means an office. Lishka. Lishka is an office. Page 23. Thank you. All right. So he. Well, yes, Misrad is the modern Hebrew word, but Lishka is another word for an office. Yeah. Lishka. No, modern Hebrew. Lishkat Rosh HaMemshala. It means an office, but not the room of his office.
That
means, yes, more like the office of the prime minister doesn't mean necessarily the room that he's in.
Yeah.
Right. The Misrad would be his personal room. Lishka is the whole.
They also use like Misada Beyud, right?
Correct. Yeah, but
That's
Lishka,
like
Lishkat. I don't know why there's two words. Lishkato, Lishka, but it's modern Hebrew word. Acharav. It's also an ancient Hebrew word, right?
Yeah.
Acharov, following him, Hechazik, Malkiah, Ben Hatzorfi. Add until you got to Bet HaNetinim, the house of where the Netinim lived. VaHaRochlim. Rochlim means, anyone know? A Rochel?
Raquel sounds really familiar.
The person, Raquel?
No, that's Rachel with a chet. A Rochel is related to the word rechilut. What's rechilut? Oh, gossiping. Now, this doesn't mean the house of the gossipers. No, it's unlikely the gossipers had a special house. A Rochel means a person who goes from house to house selling goods. What do we call them?
Tradesman.
No.
Salesman, right. You have your bag and your suitcase. That's a Rochel. And the reason why is the gossipers go from house to house selling the stories. That's why the two words are the same. Get me? The Rochlim. So there was a building. Maybe it was like a market where people sold their goods. So it was a building where the Nesinim were and the Rochlim, and that was the next point on the wall. Neged Shar HaMifkad, which is opposite the gate of the Mifkad. Mifkad is some type of police inspection. The Ad Aliyat Hapina, until you get to the corner where the steps go up. Ubein Aliyat Hapina l'Sharatzon, and the section, this is the last part of the wall, the section between the Aliyat Hapina, the corner of the steps, till you get to the gate of the sheep, which was where we started. Remember yesterday we started the trip all the way around the gate of the sheep, which was exactly opposite the Temple Mount, or Hechaziku. That was strengthened by the Tzorfim and the Rochlim. So Rochlim, we know what they are. They're the merchants. The Tzorfim are silversmiths. Tzoref is this guy who makes silver or connects pieces of metal together. How do you call that?
Welder.
Welder, right. Tzoref is a welder.
Right. But how? Okay.
No, all right, because that's what you do silver, right? You attach pieces together. That's why they were. Here particularly means silversmiths. I don't think they were welders in the sense that we mean, right? But that's their job. Okay, so we finished. We got all the way back to the beginning, right? At least that's it.
How long did that take, though?
I don't know. Doesn't say. All right. So they're all working at the moment. They haven't finished. I mean, they did finish eventually, but we're describing what's going on. So they've got these, I think, 49 different points around the wall, which are being worked on at the same time, and they're all eager to finish his job. Vayihi, you see, there's a pay there because we got to the end of that story of describing the people going. Next text. Vayihi kasher shama Sanballat. When Sanballat heard about it, means he already made fun of them right from the beginning. He didn't like the fact that Nehemiah came at all. That was the first time he was mentioned. It was very bad to him and his friends. Then they heard about Ezra's plan and Nehemiah's plan about building the wall, and he just made fun of everybody. Okay? Now they actually see people getting the job done, right?
They don't like that because it means less
Right.
for them.
Kasher shama Sanballat, when Sanballat heard, ki anachnu bonim es hachayma, that we are building the wall, vayichaloi, got very angry. Although, yeah, I don't know. When we use the word charon and af, it means angry. This is vayicha without the word angry. The word angry appears in the next verse. I think it just means to be upset, annoyed.
Which word?
Vayicha. Vayicha. It bothered him tremendously. Vayichas harbe, and he got very angry. So that word kas means anger. Okay, so he got very bothered and he got angry. Vayilag ala Yehudim. So with his only way to express his anger, what could he do? Right, he couldn't do very much, but he made fun of the Jews. Lag, he made fun of them. That was his way of reacting. And he said to his brothers, said in front of his brothers, V'cheil Shomron, and the armies of Shomron, presumably those are Samaritans. That's why they're called Shomron. Shomronim, who were the non-Jews who settled the northern area of Israel and had been there the whole time that the Jews were in Bavel. And they were the ones who were mostly bothered by the fact that Jews were coming back to settle the country, right? A bit like the Arabs who lived here before 1920s and didn't like the fact that Jews were coming back to settle Israel, which was their ancestral land. That the same sort of story. So they were the ones who he was mostly opposed to this settlement and the strengthening of the walls of Jerusalem. So he said to his brothers and the armies of Shomron, and he said, what are these unfortunate Jews doing? Umlal means a person who is unfortunate. That means poor, downtrodden. That's right. Well, that's the easiest way of referring to it. Hayazvu lahem? You think this is going to help them? No, help's not the right word. To help is ozer. Ozev means to strengthen. Now it can mean almost the opposite. La'azov means to leave something on its own, to forsake something. But it doesn't mean that here. Anyone learn Mishnah Sukkah? No, there, the roof of a building which is, not the roof of a sukkah, the roof of a building which has cement or bricks or wood is called the ma'aziva. So it's the same word. It means to make something really strong. To take a wall and strengthen it by putting metal or cement or whatever. It is la'azov. It doesn't here mean to forsake. So, do they really think they're going to strengthen the walls? It's a question of ridicule. The hey, here is a question. Hey, hayizbechu, will they zoveach? Come on, you know the word zoveach. Put a mem at the beginning of zoveach and you get mizbeach.
They're going to rebuild the temple?
No, to sacrifice. Hayizbechu, will they sacrifice? Now this is strange because they've already got a temple. The temple's already been built and they're bringing sacrifices. So what does it mean? Will they bring sacrifices? So someone to say it means, will they bring sacrifices as a thank you when they finish building the walls? That's what it is. But you think they're ever going to complete this and thank God for it? No, it's never going to happen. Hayichalu, because he's making fun of them. That's the point. Making fun doesn't have to be logically sensible, right? But we're going to put a stop to this. We're going to stop them. Do you think they're going to finish? We're going to make sure they don't finish this. I think this is he's rallying his friends up to come and oppose what the Jews are doing.
How is Ezra getting on?
Nehemiah, how is he?
Know all this.
Very good, interesting question. No idea. How does he know the conversation that they had?
Maybe God.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Maybe someone told him. Someone was there and told them. Maybe.
You can assume based on his actions.
What?
You can assume based on his actions.
Yeah, but how would he know? How would
He wouldn't be able to
He
report the
knows
conversation.
exactly, but you can get an idea of what.
Yeah, but that's like exactly. I mean, he's making a whole story out of it. You know, it's like Josephus. Josephus tells us the conversation that Eliezer had before he committed suicide on Masada. So how does he know? Right? So, part of the story is that there was one woman who managed to survive the story. That's very convenient, because then we've got this woman, she continued the whole story. That may be true, right? But I think that a lot of historians, especially ancient historians, will make up. This is what Yehuda Maccabee said before he went out to fight the Greeks. You know, we really know what Yehuda Maccabee, someone recorded the speech. It could be. I mean, we know what Winston Churchill said when he spoke to the truth. Or we even know what he says. Abraham Lincoln said in Gettysburg Address, right?
Was there already that?
What? Because, okay, so it could be that someone wrote them down. It's possible, yeah. I read this week that Gettysburg Address was only 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I read, even though it's very, very famous. Whatever. But it could be it was written down by somebody. But it could be it's just someone's imagination of what might have been said at the time. No, but I'm not suggesting this is imagination, God forbid. No, this is real. The question is, the gentleman's asking a question, how does Nehemiah know? So Shane's answer, he's Nebuch, God told him. Okay, could be. You know, I mean, this is the Holy Scriptures, right? It's divinely inspired, not just taken from people's records. Could be.
Or someone could have just told them this.
I mean, I'm not denying it, I'm just asking, how do we know it's divinely inspired?
Others wouldn't have got into the Holy Scriptures, otherwise, well, let's write the Book of the Maccabees in the Holy Scriptures as well. And that's how I know.
No, I'm saying we know that the Commission from Torah is divinely inspired, because we have ways. There's a Commission.
How do you know?
Well,
How do we know?
am I going to give you the whole class?
Exactly. So Moshe Rabbeinu says when the Novi comes and tells you something, you trust him. So I suppose it's the same thing. If the person who wrote this book was Ezra, right? And Ezra just is the pen name for Malachi and Novi. So I guess that's why we trust him. Because he had the credentials of being a Novi. And that's why any books written after this, like the Book of the Maccabees, don't make it into Tanakh, because who says I can trust you? The details are accurate. But if you're written by a Novi, it's trustworthy. I don't really know. It could be because he was a Novi, but it's a very good question. It's definitely something that's worth pointing out. This is a conversation that wasn't said in front of Ezra or Nehemiah, and how's he supposed to know? Yeah, not Ezra and Nehemiah, because Ezra's dead, as far as I know. I think Ezra's not alive by now. If Ezra was alive, I don't know how any of this could have happened. Ezra had a very, very strong authority from the king to bring law and order, to set up judiciary systems, and he had the authority to kill people. He would just let the Jews of Jerusalem be harassed by the Samaritans. I don't think that Ezra was alive at the time. This is 13 years after Ezra came to Yerushalayim. So it could be he died in the meantime.
How old is he when he came to Yerushalayim? Yeah.
Okay, so he said to them, do you think that these guys are really going to strengthen the world? You think they're going to celebrate its completion? Hayichalu bayom, will they finish it in the day? Now, I don't think he means will they finish it one day.
Any day.
I think what he's saying is could be saying Hayichalu bayom. Yichalu means to complete. Bayom.
Maybe.
I mean, they're finishing. They're working during the days, right?
Yeah. But like at night could be like in secret. Like, are they going to finish in like while we're watching, like, are we going to let them finish it? No.
Hayom means in daylight, where we're watching. I hear. Hayichayu esoavane. Are they going to bring the stones back alive? Now that's not literally, but there's just piles of rubble around the broken walls of Yerushalayim. You're really going to let them bring them back alive? Hayichayu esoavane may areimos ha'afar, from the piles of soil or dust. Vehemos serufos, and they are burnt, meaning the walls are all burnt and the gates have all been destroyed. I suppose, yes, why not? Cities are being rebuilt. Why is he saying, like I said before, we're not going to let them, as we'll see. The Tuvia Ha'amoni, he's one of Sanballat's friends, the Ammonite Tuvia, Etzlo. He's next to him. Vayomer, Gam Ashehem Boinim, even that which they do build. Gam Ashehem Boinim, Im Yale Shual, if a fox will go up, Ufarats, and breach Chomat Avnehem, the walls of their bricks. So that's either literally, means even what they do build, first of all, we're not going to let them build, but even what they do build, they don't know how to do it, it's not very strong, it's not very difficult to breach through their walls, and a fox can bash it down. That probably doesn't mean literally fox, I don't think foxes can move rocks. It means even someone who's not very strong, like a lion, but the fox is like the opposite, you know? You just have to, if we're cunning, we'll be able to break it down, we don't have to be very strong. I guess that's what he's trying to say. That's the end of that section. That is the end of the section of Sanballat and Tobiah's ridiculing the Jews. Shema Elokeinu. Now Nehemiah's coming. Listen, our God. Ki hayinu buza. We were being disgraced. Means listen to these words of these people. They're making fun of us. V'hashev cherpatam el rosham. Return their disgrace on their heads. Means turn the disgrace around instead of them disgracing us. Give us the opportunity to put them to disgrace.
What's turn around?
Hashev means return, like to do tshuva.
Yeah.
Cherpatam, their disgrace, el rosham, to their heads. Put it back on them. U'tenem lebiza, and give them as biza means spoil, but spoil in the sense of spoils of war. Be'eretz shivya, in the land of captivity. Means he's blessing them with being taken as slaves as captives. V'al techas al avonam, don't cover up their sin. This is Nehemiah's prayer. V'chatasam, and their sins. Milefanecha, which they've done in front of you. Means they've sinned over the years. Don't turn the blind eye to that. See it, and therefore come and help us. Al timacher, let it not be erased from, because God does erase things, doesn't it? If you will tshuva, but not lessons shouldn't be erased. Ki yichisu leneged habonim, because they have angered in front of the builders.
What does that mean?
I suppose it means that they're throwing stones at them, putting placards down with the Jews. We're going to bring Trump to stop you building these illegal settlements. Whatever. It's also very difficult to imagine nowadays. This is happening the whole time when he has these leftists demonstrating against settlements being built in the West Bank.
Kill them, back then they would kill them.
Who would kill them?
Who's saying that?
No.
What?
There's the Samaritans against the Jews who are building.
What are the Samaritans?
The Samaritan. I mean, there's no. Until they report to the king what's going on, they don't have the authority to kill anybody. So they're trying. I'm not suggesting they're just up there with placards, but it's not so difficult to imagine there's some type of opposition that they're doing. They don't have permission to attack the Jews. They don't have permission to prevent the Jews from doing it. So, but they're going to try the best.
Because nuisance of themselves.
We continue to build the wall despite their comments. Kasher kol hachayma, and the whole wall was kasher. Kasher means tied, like in a knot. It means because all the sections were tied together. And chetzia, halfway. That means half the wall is still I presume chetcha doesn't mean chetcha and height.
Halfway
I'm
finished.
guessing it's
You think it means height?
because you're saying they're all tied together.
No, it doesn't say. It's all the wall till halfway.
Half of the wall's been tied together.
I'm not sure if it means in length or I think it means
Maybe
in
half
length,
complete.
but it could mean in height. But he lev la'am la'asais, and there was a heart to the people to do. It means the people were excited about this. They were put their hearts into building this wall. So we've managed to join the bits of the wall till half.
Well, if there was everyone working on
Maybe it's just because they're halfway finished.
in different sections, right? Kind of makes sense it was height because they're not all working on one section going around. Like so, like you can imagine like everyone starting here, like around it. They're building up together.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that it was half in length because which half would it be? They're all
Yeah.
working from different points, right?
Yeah.
Unless it means each one managed to do half of his length.
Yeah, and then maybe.
No, but one guy built opposite his house, right? So he only did half of that.
Well,
like-
How do you mean
actually,
halfway-
so when
halfway
you
finished?
when you build a wall, you have to build it like this, right? And then you build it like that, and you build out, right? Because you can't just build it like so. Maybe and then
Why
it's
can't you build it straight?
because there has to be stairs to get up to the top, right? So then
We're talking about the height of the wall.
yeah, so this is the height,
Yeah.
right? And it's going along the wall. So this would be starting in a whole bunch of different sections. So maybe they're literally not tied together because like there would be another section where they started doing like this, right? And you build stairs, and then you build like stairs on top of stairs, and you keep going
That
around.
was interesting.
You know what I mean? Like
Why are you building stairs? To get to the
because
next-
you can't
build it high.
you can't build a tower and then build another tower next to it. You have to build like a stair this high, and then you build another stair, and you keep building stairs on top of it. So you're making a pyramid until you get to the height you want, and then you just keep making it wider and wider and wider. So then it's kind of like doing that. So they're literally not tied together. So there would be breaks in the wall before those sections actually got to meet.
But if height means we had a height that we want to do, but it's not actually very, it's not serving its purpose at the moment because people can still attack. You can still throw stones, catapults, and arrows, whatever they have to do against our efforts until it's built higher. Okay. But he Kashisham, it was Kashisham Sambalat. When Sambalat heard the Tuviyah, the Arabim and the Arabs, the Ammonim and the Ammonites, the Ashdodim and the guys from Ashdod, which is on the west. Ki also arucha lechaymes Yerushalayim. Now, usually that means when you put something on a mend, when you mend a wound, also arucha. But here it's used in the same sense. It means we found a solution and we were mending the walls of Jerusalem. Ki heichelu haperutzim lehitzaten, because the breaches had started to be closed. This was exceedingly difficult for them to accept, painful for them. They got very upset about this. Well, it means that originally they thought, the Jews will never do it. Jews don't have to build. Jews will go fight about it. It's not going to work, right? Somehow or other it's not going to work. But then they actually saw that it's working. So, Vayiksharu. So they tied Kulam Yachdav all together. That means they plotted. Here the tying is not the walls, right? People who would naturally be separate factions got together to find a solution to this Jewish problem. Yava to come lehilachem b'Yerushalayim, to come and fight against Jerusalem. The last is like toyah. I don't know what that word means. It usually means to make a mistake. That's with a test, right? I think it means to stray. It means like, look, to stray here means from their goal. They've got a goal, and we want them to stray from, to not get there.
Toya.
To'ah. To'ah. So more Sambalat straight.
Straight.
Straight, that's what it says.
You found it.
Oh, because it doesn't mean that here. I know they can mean that. Ruin. Okay. To ruin the Jews' plans. Vanispalel. So we prayed that it came to our God. So that's the first thing we did. Okay? It's not the text of the prayer we're not got over here, but that's how we started off. Yaakov, when he faces Esav, what does he do? He's affecting the enemy, right?
Sends angels.
He sends angels, and then he prays, and then he gets ready to fight. So we're doing the same. First thing we do, we pray to God. Then, Vana Amid, and we established to put up. Mishmar. Mishmar is a guard. Aleihem, upon them, means upon the people. The people or the walls of Jerusalem. The walls need protecting, the people who are building the walls need protecting. So we had a guard, people on guard duty to protect from attack. So we can do both at the same time. We want to build the walls and protect the people who are building the walls from being attacked. Vanishma Mishmar Aleihem, we guarded the people. We set up a guard around them, Yom Laila, day and night, midpneihem, in the face of the enemy. Right, in the face of them. Them means the enemy, the threat. Vayoyme Yehuda said, I suppose it was the people of Yehuda, Koshal Koyach Hasabol. The strength, Sabal is a porter. Now here it doesn't mean, here it's not trying to say a porter, but that's what the Sabal is. It means to, the strength to support has stumbled, which we don't really have the strength to, they felt that they didn't have the strength to face the enemy. Koshal Koyach Hasabal. Ve'afar Harbe. And there's lots of soil.
What does that mean?
Va'anachnu lo nuchal livnot bachoma. We won't be able to build the wall. It looks like they're becoming despondent about the amount of work they have to do. They don't have the strength. There's lots of work to be done. That means lots of soil. There's lots of cement and bricks and the amount of work they need to do, and we won't be able to finish this wall. If we'd been left to do it without being attacked, then we would have had it. But to do
Both?
whilst we're being attacked, we don't have the strength to do it.
Didn't he bring a whole bunch of guards with him in order to stave off the attacks?
That's just to travel there.
Yeah. How many was it? And whose side were they on?
They're on the...
You'd like to think they were on their side, but like you said, they could have gone home a long time ago. Okay, I don't know why I don't recognize this. I mean, I prepared this class, but I don't know. I must have missed out this whole section. I'll jump to the next piece because I know from positive tests so much. I don't recognize this piece. Okay, we'll do it tomorrow. Okay, it's time to stop in any case.